Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. I hope you're all well out there and keeping your spirits high. Remember, if you ever want to chat to a friendly voice and struggling with anything out there, you know where to find me. Now today I want to talk with Phil Schrader, who is the CEO of a company called GumGum. And they are an artificial intelligence company focused on computer vision and natural language processing. And since 2008, the company has applied its patented capabilities to serve a variety of industries, from advertising to professional sports. And I'm informed that they've got much more to come too. Essentially, they unlock the value of images and videos that are produced every single day across the web, social media, and broadcast television. And they teach machines to solve hard problems across the media industry. And the company serves contextual marketing in line with content users and helps marketers and rights holders understand the media value of their sponsorship investments, and introduces this content safety analysis engine that finds what is relevant or what is dangerous. So I invited them on the podcast to find out more, and thankfully they said yes. So come with me as I take your ears on another virtual journey so you can listen in on a conversation with me and Phil Schrader, the CEO of GumGum. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, first, thanks, Neil, for having me. So I'm Phil Schrader. I'm the president and CEO of GumGum. We are a global artificial intelligence technology company that utilizes computer vision and natural language processing to analyze digital content for the media and advertising industry.
And like you said there, GumGum is this AI company focused on computer vision and natural language processing. But just to help bring it all to life there, can you expand on that and tell me a little bit more about how you're helping businesses and also what makes GumGum unique, apart from that incredibly cool name?
Sure. Yeah, and it's funny, we've been focusing on our AI tech for almost over a decade. And so even right now, every time I say AI, I think it's become quite the thrown around term, right? But we're really proud of what we've developed within AI, because our real differentiation is how we support bringing productized artificial intelligence solutions to the media and advertising industry, where we deliver value by taking huge volumes of text and visual data across the web and other channels and analyze it at scale to identify its content. So customers will use our analysis to inform their business decisions. So simply put, we deliver machine learning powered content analysis. We then apply that capability in two distinct ways. First, our digital advertising business. We apply it to facilitate the most advanced and accurate contextual targeting and brand safety for advertisers and publishers across the web at scale. And then we have a sports business that looks for logos in broadcast, social, and other channels to provide sponsorship valuations to sponsor brands and those rights holders like teams, leagues, and venues. So as far as what makes GumGum unique, it's definitely our AI capability. And it's particularly with regard to computer vision or image recognition. So we've been developing computer vision systems for image recognition and content analysis, as I mentioned, for over a decade. And that's what makes us the most experienced and capable in the media right now to be able to analyze that than any other company. And that includes some big ones like IBM. We've done our contextual analysis engine testing within digital advertising against Watson and IBM, and our technology, which we call Verity, has consistently outperformed Watson in these head-to-head analysis. So where we've seen the industry over the last decade really focus a lot on data and user data or behavioral data, and I know many of your previous topics have talked about the power of that data, we've been focused on the contextual element that doesn't require the regulation, but still can analyze and provide you the exact information you need to see a very successful outcome without needing that data.
And do you have any use cases that you could share that just help anyone listening understand how you're actually teaching machines to solve hard problems right across the media industry?
Sure. I think what I can do is I'll break it down into two, one actual use cases with a brand we've used as well as kind of an overarching way to kind of break it down. So as I mentioned, since we're teaching machines to see and understand the world, it depends on what problem we're trying to solve. So for example, if we're identifying pictures of a make of a car, we have to feed our neural network, right, these pictures and have them annotated so that we can understand and get the system to be able to identify what car that is. So the machine learns to identify the car by studying those annotated images. At first, it's very bad at it, but over time, by studying more pictures and learning from its mistakes, the machine starts to really get good at it and can ultimately look at a way of identifying what's in those images faster than any human possibly could. So that ability to conduct analysis at scale is what makes it so valuable as a tool for understanding web content, of which obviously we know there's an insane amount. So we do that by both understanding the images, but then combining that with the understanding of the text. And not just the meaning of the words alone, but the meaning that comes from their combination in sentences and paragraphs. That's why it's called natural language processing, because it can derive the meaning from the way people naturally talk, which doesn't always make sense if you break the words in a sentence down to their individual meanings. So we hear a lot still to this day of the media business, and especially in advertising, focusing on keywords and looking to either find and surround brand messages around keywords or to block or stay away from keywords. So for example, let's think about the word breast. We have partners who don't want to have their advertisements obviously appear near sexual content. So they obviously want to avoid content with pictures of human breasts. But in looking at only keywords, not understanding the visuals and the rest of what's going on with that text, they ultimately are eliminating all of breasts that might be related to chicken breasts or food. So now you have amazing content for an advertiser to leverage around food or chicken breasts, but it's been blocked or it hasn't been identified for them to capitalize on. So if you don't understand the full context, then you can't actually be able to deliver effective advertising or really deliver effectively whatever it is that you're looking to for that potential consumer. So to give you a more specific example, and I'll reference the UK, given we have offices in the UK, we did a campaign with Vodafone. And in doing a campaign with Vodafone, they were looking to really highlight their launch of the iPhone 10. But Apple has very, very strict guidelines with the iPhone messaging and the pre-approved sites in which they can go after in an effort to draw potential consumers to Vodafone for the new iPhone. Well, what we were able to do is, without having them use any of the messaging around the iPhone, we could find all of that content at scale to the UK population. And they were able to identify and create alignment between the context of the Apple phone and Vodafone service. And that campaign was super successful, and it made and helped Vodafone become the largest market share gain of the iPhone launch with respect to a telco company. So that just kind of gives you that, I think, use case of how brands are actually executing on this data. And even as we look at what we're in right now, we published some data across our Verity analysis that we did. Again, that's our ability and contextual analysis tool. With the wake of COVID, we found across our platform that over 60% of the COVID content was actually positive or neutral, meaning it was talking about things like how to create a safe work from space home while amongst in the COVID pandemic, right? So it's not talking about the death, the illness, the sicknesses, or the brand safety issues that brands don't want to be around, but rather it's a positive or neutral article in which if you could really have put that content and scale together and packaged it up for a brand, they could be able to execute on it and be able to have a strong share of voice. So I think it's really just fundamentally taking back what we know advertising has worked before and just bringing that to the next level, leveraging AI. And that is truly needing the context as a key piece to that.
Fantastic. That really brings it to life. And I think I should also highlight as well that earlier this year, you raised $22 million, but that brought your total to nearly $60 million. So how is that funding helping you evolve and keep moving forward?
Yeah, great question. We were really excited about being able to raise that money last year. And it's really to help us move forward in continuing to push this, our product roadmap. So we're going to look at this to break down into a few key areas. One, product development, which we can talk about in a little bit, around some key areas of how we're leveraging this foundational tech to continue to bring new products to the market across the media advertising business. We're looking at ways we can strategically grow. And so are there great partnerships, potential M&A acquisitions that would help further allow us to move quicker into the move that we're looking to in the sense of bringing our global technology to market? And then the third is to capitalize on potential further international expansion that we potentially are looking at as well. So we're very excited about our ability now to just even move at a faster pace than we already were.
And as someone that's working right in the heart of the industry, can I ask that you tell me a little bit more about how neuroscientific research suggests that contextual targeting is an effective digital advertising tactic? I know it's a mouthful, but can you expand on that?
Yeah. Well, first, I love that this is a question. I love this question because we talk about the effectiveness of the ads based on a use case, like I mentioned in Vodafone. But I think what we need to really remember is it all goes back to human nature. Yeah. And so there have been a number of these neuroanalytic studies that really relate to contextual targeting in digital advertising, but most of them have focused on the quality of the context. So that is the quality of the publication in which the ads appear, but impacts performance and sentiment around the ads. Those have shown that advertising on higher quality content delivers better results. That, in effect, the quality of the content reflects on how the ad is perceived. But contextual targeting is really more about targeting ads based on the nature of the content, not so much about targeting ads based on the quality of the site where the content appears. So obviously, it can be a part of a contextual targeting strategy, but we're more interested in targeting that aligns products and brands with the subject matter of the content. So it doesn't take an AI to find high quality publishers, but what our technology allows us to do is then go ahead and identify what in the article is about and then what we can actually do to place an ad in that high quality publication, but also place that ad around content that consumers of that product are interested in at that very moment. So we recently partnered with a neuroanalytics company, SPARK Neuro, to develop a study to the cognitive impact that alignment between content subject matter and the surrounding digital ads has on consumers. The results of that study were quite definitive across the board. The more contextually relevant the ads, the better they were to perform on behalf of the advertiser.
And I'm glad you brought that up there because I believe it showed that ads with the most contextual relevance elicited 43% more neural engagement and 2.2 times better ad recall. But I've got to ask, was there anything in the study that surprised you?
Well, yeah, that's right. You have your data right. It actually also, showed that contextually relevant ads drove an increase in purchase intent. But to answer your question, no, I wasn't surprised. For me, even as maybe you, it's like when I'm just a consumer walking around my day, I notice when things make sense in their environment. And so the fact that contextual has been a very tried and true approach over the history of advertising. And that's what really was building a lot of the brand loyalty, the purchase intent, and how we as consumers chose to engage with that brand. So before cookies and user targeting took over programmatic ad buying, contextual targeting was the primary strategy. So just go back and look at something like Google AdWords. That's contextual targeting. All of print advertising and broadcast, for that matter, is contextual. You see fashion brands in vogue because that's where you find consumers interested in fashion products. You see beer ads on football games because that's where you find beer consumers. So contextual targeting works, and we knew that already. But we wanted to really go in and get some scientific data to further support this hypothesis. So the performance of the contextual campaigns on our advertising business is a testament to that success. But we hoped to show with the study, and did show, is that in a digital environment where a lot of advertising is totally out of context, user targeted, contextual ads actually affect consumers cognitively in more favorable ways. So when they're reading an article about a new car, when they're in a frame of mind where a car is going to engage them more immediately and then be more memorable in the long run, right? When people talk about the right person, right place, and right time for advertising, contextual targeting really delivers on all three of those things much more than user targeting does, which really only hits the person as part of that equation. And as a global industry, as audience and user regulation continues to be governmentally regulated, contextual and the continued tried and true approach of contextual is going to be a critical part of success going forward. And so we believe our next gen tech capabilities around contextual will be one of the primary ways that brands are going to continue to deliver amongst that regulated, amongst the now user regulated audience.
And GumGum have also been doing their part surrounding education around how to stop the spread of COVID-19. I think that's with your partnership with the Ad Council to support the Alone Together PSA initiative. But is that something you can expand on with us today?
Yeah, because I think exactly we're here talking about the contextual alignment and the power of what advertising can do when it's in the right context. And so at GumGum, I am extremely proud of the work we did with the Ad Council. So thanks for the question, because it really allowed us to do what we do best in a positive way, right? And it was allowing us to find and understand all of this COVID content and really marry that to a very strong partnership with the Ad Council to just bring awareness. So our partnership was actually coming together prior to the pandemic. We were going to be part of a unique initiative with the Ad Council called GumGum Smile. So we were in the midst of planning that to donate a portion of our revenues towards, creating and distributing, digital messaging support for Ad Council's various PSAs. When the COVID-19 realities struck, we immediately recognized that we needed to expedite the GumGum Smile launch to support the Ad Council's social distancing PSA initiative to slow the virus spread. So after all, we were actually uniquely equipped to deliver mass messaging across a huge publisher network using really impactful ad units like our in-screen unit or our in-video unit we'll talk about maybe in a little bit. And so anyway, we were able to move quickly to get that PSA up and running. And the whole process from contacting the Ad Council to building to creative and launching took less than 48 hours. And that, I believe, we actually released the first PSA of the whole campaign. So, GumGum is very agile when it comes to execution. And the speed in which this came together was unique because everyone on our team had a terrific sense of urgency about it. And we're currently running 3 pro bono COVID-19 awareness campaigns with the Ad Council, including one utilizing our new in-video ad format. And you can see them all on the GumGum Smile page of our website. And we are also going to do a webcast on June 4th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, where we're going to go into more detail. And I just think for us, when we're reaching the entirety of the US, or pretty much the entire population of the UK, how can we leverage our contextual targeting to do good for the world? And we were really excited to be able to leverage our tech, get it out quickly, and hopefully make a difference.
And I also saw that you're doing some great work to monitor brand exposure for ESPN's Michael Jordan documentary, Last Dance, which has got everybody talking at the moment. So can you tell me a little bit more about the bump company saw by associating with that series?
Yes, so that's a great question as well. So we have a really great sports business, and where we've leveraged our technology and our capability to really start to provide key return on investment metrics to both the rights holders and to our advertisers. So in the case of Michael Jordan's documentary, we just decided to do a fun exercise just on a small scale from our sports division, and look at our computer vision to look at all of the sponsorship placements, logos, mostly across the broadcast, social, and web imagery and videos around sporting events. And then specifically tied that to the Michael Jordan Last Dance show, and see exactly what we were going to come up with as the valuation that we think that those sponsors actually received. So in episode 5 of The Last Dance, which is the episode that focused on Michael Jordan's sponsorship deals and his influence on sneaker fashion, we found that across broadcast and social alone, that one episode delivered a combined $1.1 million of media value to Nike, the Jordan brand, McDonald's, and Gatorade from branding exposure alone. What that means is that if those brands wanted to buy that exposure today, they would have to pay $1.1 million. So what I think is so cool about that analysis is that it shows what's so special about sports sponsorships as it's compared to other forms of advertising, is that the potential that it can create these timeless moments. So there are things that will happen in sports this year that will be replayed in a highlight reel 20 to 30 years from now. If your brand is featured in that highlight, and then you're getting a return on that sponsorship investment for decades after you've paid for it, that's really exciting. And I think it shows why there is such a huge sports sponsorship market. It's not like you're guaranteed that long-term payoff, but it's really the only form of advertising can deliver returns over decades. So if you're a brand looking at our Last Dance analysis, you're probably thinking, I wish that was me. So I think it also speaks to the value of opening up and exploiting some of the untapped sponsorship opportunities. We call it white space in venues or jerseys. When you take that Last Dance and you look at it from how we quantified the value of $1.1 million from episode 5, and then you think about the attention that this documentary has received, we also saw a significant impact in web-based published content around it. So then you're able to then go to an advertiser using our Verity contextual targeting on our advertising side. And similar to how I mentioned the Vodafone, you can use that contextual to start to bring your brand into that content. So one of the things that we're really focused on is seeing this information and thinking about, look at the impact COVID had. What happens when live sports comes back up and running? Right? All of that content across the web is going to spike because there's such a demand for it. So imagine being able to be a brand to get ahead of the fact that when football comes back, how are we going to be as a brand capitalizing it? And I can get there first. I can draw my brand to that content. I can do it at scale, reach all of the UK, reach all of the US, and really start to build that association. And so I think the content, again, is really going to be a critical component to future advertising and just measurement and sports measurement, sponsorship success going forward.
I love what you're doing here, especially how you're turning challenges into opportunities as well. But I think I've also need to congratulate you because GumGum was also named Inc. magazine's best workplaces for 2020. Well, it appeared on the list there. So I've got to ask, what is the secret to building a culture that's a great place to work at too?
I wish I knew the secret. I actually became CEO. I'd been with GumGum as the CEO, and I became CEO last May. And I think at the time, the company just was really at a place where we were really looking to define a strategy and really getting to a place where we needed to start really listening to our team. And I think if there's one secret, it's humility, and it's listening and putting your team first. You're not always going to get things right. And you have to make the best decisions you can, but bringing that sense of feedback, listening, hearing what the team is looking for, knowing that no matter what product you build, if you don't have a team that's engaged and passionate, that product is never going to see the light of day and definitely is not going to be successful. So being able to really get back into working with the team and being close with the team, listening to the team, and building a culture that everyone's excited to be a part of is probably one of my most proud moments. Given that it's employee based, right? They all they filled out the questionnaire. The team, they participated in this, and it really means a lot. But I just think right now it's listening, it's transparency. It's being present and holding yourself as a leader accountable. And I think if you do those things, which hopefully everyone should be, it'll all come together.
Well, you have enjoyed a lot of success, and deservedly so. But what's next for GumGum? I appreciate you're probably limited of what you can share about the road ahead, but is there anything you can leave us with today?
So what we've done is where we've been able to analyze the context of both images and text across the web and within digital content, we've now started to apply that to video. And we are going to be launching a new video solution that will support video and OTT, in which we can ingest an overlaid ad into the content. So imagine watching a 5-second video and not being interrupted at all with an advertisement, but rather having an advertisement look beautiful, seamlessly come into the frame, fade out, and really allow you to continue your content, but grab that brand recognition. So it's very much an exciting opportunity for us to bridge our tech piece and now start to deliver value into the video and OTT space. The second area of focus within the advertising side is the Verity component, or that product of which we've now created, which is Verity, which again is the contextual technology leveraging computer vision and NLP. We've created the API. So we will be looking to partner and bring that to market so that it can be utilized outside of just the four walls within GumGum, which is very, very, very exciting. And then on the sports piece of the business, we are continuing to be providing elevated insights and best practices to brands and rights holders on how to help them negotiate, measure, and effectively understand the actual returns that they're getting on those. So we're continuing to develop automated solutions in ways and dashboards that brands and rights holders can continue to get real-time access into the effectiveness of those sponsorships. So we have some very exciting things, coming up.
And for anyone listening that would like to stay in touch with you, follow your progress, follow you online, what's the best way of doing that, and equally contacting your team if they have any questions?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn as Phil Schrader. My last name is Schraeder. I just recently created a Twitter account where everyone can find me there at Phil Schrader. Same last name as Schraeder. You can, of course, go to gumgum.com where you can find more information about our products, our services, as well as information like studies, news, and guides, an array of topics. That's where you can also find more information on the neuroanalytics study and all the work and research we've done on contextual targeting. And then if you're looking to see how you can continue to help or what the Ad Council is doing, I am going to be doing a webcast on June 4th at 2 p.m. Pacific time with one of our board members, former CMO of Live Nation Concerts and Yahoo exec, Lisa Licht, and with one of the head leads at the Ad Council, Kathy Case. So we're really excited about that as well.
Excellent. Well, I'll add all those links to the blog posts that will accompany this episode so people can find you nice and easily. But I love what you're doing here, especially using technology to unlock the value of images and videos produced every day across web, social media, and broadcast television. It's a huge landscape to try and cover. But I also love how you're teaching machines to solve real hard problems right across the media industry. All too often, I think we all hear about technology that's created first and then going looking for a problem. But I love how you've done it the right way around. So a big thank you for sharing your story with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neil. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad we could do this today. So if there's any other questions or anything else you have for me, just let me know. And I hope you and the listeners found it interesting.
In February 2020, GumGum raised $22 million from existing investors, bringing their total to nearly $60 million. And I cannot thank Phil enough for not only walking us through their technology, but also speaking about how neuroscientific research and contextual targeting is an effective digital advertising tactic. I love how GumGum is doing their part surrounding education around how to stop the spread of COVID-19 as well, and how they partnered with the Ad Council to support the Alone Together PSA initiative. So much value in the conversation today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, but I want to hear stories from you too. I want to hear your opinions. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, social channels @Neil C. Hughes. You know the rules though, don't just follow me, send a little message so I know who you are and that you listen to the podcast. And if you'd like to work with me, whether it be launching your own podcast or help with your business blogs, my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. So keep those messages coming in. I'll be back again, same time, same place tomorrow. So a big warm thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.